going to be a quick devlog today. We're going to be talking about two things, parallax backgrounds and a dialogue system. I've got a proof of concept for a parallax background, quickly put together several background layers in Asesprite and exported them. It's meant to vaguely represent a forest area. In the future, I want to gradually merge outside areas and caves, but for now, this is pretty cool. The different layers move at different rates relative to the camera, which creates an illusion of depth. The background layers also repeat themselves. Dialogue system. Really wasn't looking forward to implementing a dialogue system. I wanted it to be easy to set up and use in multiple places. After procrastinating for several days, I decided to start drawing dialogue boxes. After a lot of experimentation, I came up with this design. The design uses diagonal patterns. It also ended up with a border due to me setting the wrong sprite settings. I'm going to keep it though. I created this dialogue box on my UI scene. I still wanted an easy way to set the messages and to trigger things to happen at the end of each dialogue, such as more dialogue following, or an event to be triggered such as opening another interface or opening a door. To do this, I decided to use scriptable objects. At first I had a scriptable object for an individual message and a list of messages. I envisioned being able to send a list of messages to the UI and have it work its way through them. The downside was that the list just displayed a list of objects, and I couldn't view the text or images associated with the object when in list form. I began working on a custom editor to display this list of messages. It was still annoying to have to create message objects for every individual message. I first made it so that you could create an object through the custom editor, edit the scriptable object, and delete the scriptable object, all from the list view. The more I thought about it, the more I realised I would have tons of scriptable objects in my project, which would be a nightmare to manage. So I did some research around getting custom classes to display in the editor. I found something called the property drawer, which allows you to draw class fields in the editor, as long as your class is marked as serializable. After a lot of tinkering, I was able to create, edit and delete messages from within the message queue directly, and without having to create a scriptable object per message. In the future, I plan on adding options like text color, border color, so on and so forth, maybe different animations for different messages, but that's all going to come down the line. After hooking up a test object to the UI, so I could set the messages at runtime, I added some events to the dialogue system. These would be for a message queue starting dialogue, an individual message changing, and the end of the message queue. This allows me to do things such as open doors, change camera angles, and open menus by listening to these events. Here's an example where talking to this construction worker changes the character to red. And an example where every time the individual message block changes, it sets the worker to a random colour, and then when the dialogue is finished, the construction worker is then set to red. I'm sure these events will make it much easier to deal with dialogue. I'm still hoping to put up a new demo when the forest area is roughly done, and do a video on its entirety. Thanks for watching.